Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Galactic Historian, because it's the month of all things spooky. Well, it was the month of all things spooky. This is coming out a little later than I anticipated. As Star Citizen is a vast universe with a large variety of tales, there are bound to be a few spooky mysteries. This is our second and final episode covering some of the more strange stories surrounding the beloved but possibly cursed Carrack. Remember that if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button for future content, and like the video to help spread the word. In our last video, we discussed the cursed creation of the Anvil Carrack itself. Birthed from the covered-up tragedy of the cruiser UES Callaway, it then had a rocky trip from military pathfinder to civilian explorer, where it took almost a century to make the transition, which was highly unusual for Anvil Aerospace, who are known for their quick release of civilian versions of their military ships. In fact, the mystery and intrigue of the Carrack started the first time it was spotted by civilian aerospace watchers in 2822. The ships just seemed to appear fully formed inside MacArthur's naval base in the Killian system. For a ship its size, the prospect of it having been tested in secret and not raised any alarms was phenomenal. The first observers knew that this meant the ship was absolutely vital to the balance of power, as the only ships that managed to just appear as the Carrack had were those done with the utmost urgency. Of course, the reason for the secrecy was to keep the purpose for the creation of the Carrack in the dark, but that didn't stop rumors from swirling about this strange ship. While eventually it became clear that the ship was designed as a long-range exploration vessel, the rumors still swirled around the line of Carracks built for the military due to their classified nature. These ships had no names, but designations. Carracks with the R designation were built for research, while the S Carracks were built for surveying. They all had a 1 after the letter to designate its classification as being a hull over 65 meters. Finally, the number after the 1 was the sequential order the ship was built in. For instance, the first Carrack, known as the UES Carrack, was officially known as the R-11, because it was a research ship over 65 meters and it was the first Carrack built. This added to the mystery, as untrained observers often confuse the various Carracks with their complex naming structure. However, to add even more to the confusion, these Carracks went by call signs depending on their missions, thus making them even harder to track. One such Carrack was S-1132, known as the Good Queen 12 or just GQ Twleve, which is her call sign for her last mission. S-1132 entered service in 2831, and was assigned to long-distance survey missions along the Xi'an border at the former Perry Line. By this time, the Xi'an-Human Cold War had long been over, with the Akari-Krayt Peace Accord signed in 2789 and the dissolution of the Perry Line under the Perry Line Pact in 2793. Humanity and the Xi'an were working towards a fragile but welcome peace after centuries of heightened tensions. As far as we know, the mission of S-1132 was simply updating charts, as survey ships were often tasked with ensuring up-to-date information for important military and civilian space lanes. Considering the amount of munitions that were along the Perry Line during the height of the Cold War, it wouldn't be far-fetched to believe that the mission of S-1132 was vital, possibly finding old mines or other hazards that had been forgotten or lost during the Meser era. No matter what, their last mission in 2836, where she earned the name GQ Twleve, started like any other. She would check in at regular intervals as she was scheduled to, with her last being a buoy check-in before moving into the outer reaches of the Osiris System. After missing its first scheduled report, and then its second, the mission organizers became worried and dispatched search and rescue teams to the area it was expected to be. After an extensive search, nothing was found. Not a single trace of the ship. The mystery of the disappearance of the GQ Twleve would baffle the UEE for decades, with its true mission never being fully disclosed to the public. However, the mystery of the missing Carrack would grow even deeper when, 30 years later, in 2866, a lone Carrack was spotted on the lone moon of the Indra system. The first investigators discovered it was, in fact, the missing GQ Twleve. What confused these first responders, however, was not just the discovery of the ship missing for 30 years, so far from its original flight plan, but the condition the ship was in. It was in perfect working order, All systems were still functional, and even her stores of food and medicine were found to be largely intact. However, there was no indication of what happened to the crew. The vanishing of the GQ Twleve is still baffling today, as there seems to be no indication of what happened to her or her crew. Given the swirling rumors around her classified nature, the easiest answer would be the Xi'an, being curious of the capabilities of the ship, intercepted it in order to study the craft. The Osiris System is an interesting location. It was the first system to fall under the protection of the Fair Chance Act, with the system only being discovered 4 years before the fall of the Mezzers. As a result, by 2836, the system was still fairly remote and had a jump point connection directly to the now Xi'an system, formerly known as Indra, known to the Xi'an as Kiyu Kia. In fact, the moon S1132 was discovered on is the only known habitable body of that system. It is also a massive trade hub for the Xi'an, having built heavy infrastructure on the moon to handle large amounts of cargo, including a large scaffolding array that would allow easy transfer of resources from orbit to the base station on the moon's surface, similar to an orbital tether. As such, the easy explanation is that the Xi'an had intercepted the ship, killed the crew, and dumped the ship. However, the Xi'an aren't known to be sloppy, being a very cautious and careful society, with every social and political move calculated and thought out. As a result, I doubt the Xi'an would do such a bold move to study a classified ship, murder its crew, and then dump that same ship on one of their own planets, obviously pointing to them as the culprits. However, that may have been the plan all along, leaving the ship on their moon as a message to the UEE that, though they might be at peace, the Xi'an were still untrusting of the young, petulant humanity, a deliberate admission while remaining overtly neutral in public. The mystery of what happened to the crew of S1132 and how it disappeared for 30 years will likely remain unsolved until further evidence emerges. However, it's just one more case in the litany of odd occurrences around the anvil Carrack, lending more credence to the legend of the ship's curse. I hope you enjoyed our mystery videos for this spooky season. Keep your eyes peeled for more videos covering similar topics of speculation and stories from Star Citizen and other universes here on this channel. If you liked what you saw, you can be like these patrons on the screen now and support us for as little as $5 a month. I want to shout out Sli-Fi, whose consistent support for this channel, month to month, has been way above and beyond what was required. Cheers to you, Sly. Enjoy the retirement, brother. Thank you for watching, and remember, Ex Historia ad Astra.